Welcome back to Ben's Thoughts, and we live in a world where somebody said yes to a battleship movie. As you all know, I'm not like most people my age. I watch cartoons, I love old commercials, and I actually love school. Another thing you don't know about me, which a lot of you aren't going to like, is I'm not a big fan of sports. Funny, I was expecting badly drawn hands to point guns at me at that moment. Well, anyway, I'm not a big fan of sports. However, I don't hate them enough to do a rant on them, and I'm at least going to show respect towards the boatloads of sports fans out there. So, I'm just going to give my few points as to why I'm not a big sports fan. So, get ready to be throwing the yellow flag. Here are my thoughts on sports. I'll start with the stereotype that all guys like sports. You don't know how many times somebody has come up to me and asked, "Hey Ben, did you see that game last night between the Bills and the Eagles?" And I reply, "The who and the what?" And they're actually shocked. They then say, "You didn't see the game?" I reply, "What game?" They then say, "The football game!" I then reply, "I don't watch football." They then are carried away in ambulances due to triple bypasses. I just get really tired of people expecting me to like sports like everybody else does, and they're shocked when I'm not into them. Newsflash, not everybody is into the same things. Deal with it! However, there was a time when I was a sports fan. You see, my dad's the biggest St. Louis Cardinals fan you'd ever meet, so he turned me into one. Since I was born, I was also a big Cardinals fan. However, when in my teen years watching a game in Busch Stadium, a thought came into my head. I'm bored! From that point on, I haven't been a fan of baseball, or any sport for that matter. Just goes to show, even sports could find fans in the weirdest people. Now, I'll get into the reasons why I cause people to have heart attacks. For starters, I just don't like the whole idea of sports. The fact that there is two teams playing against each other trying to win a game, and they feel they have to win, and if they lose, it's like the world is over for them. I know, a lot of athletes claim it's all about the sportsmanship, but what about all those coaches and players that freak out when their team screws up? I know, they're just getting into the competitive nature of the sports, but that just doesn't sit well with me. I don't like the idea of there being winners and losers. I feel so sorry for the losers. They train so hard and it all just comes crashing down on them. That thought sickens me. I am just not one to think of that kind of philosophy. I believe in scenarios where everybody is a winner and there is no competitive nature. You're just there to have fun. That's why I love being in plays. No competition, no losing, just performing for a crowd and having a good time. Too bad plays get such a bad rap from a lot of athletes. Anyway, I just am not a big fan of the whole winning and losing scenario of sports. Another reason I'm not that big a fan of sports is I just can't get into them. This is mainly me personally, but I just get so bored with them easily. I don't get football, I don't get baseball, and I don't get basketball. All I see in football is a quarterback who throws a ball, somebody catches it, the person is tackled, then that cycle continues until they score a touchdown, then it's the other team's turn. Sure, interceptions and sacks might happen once in a while, but I'm halfway asleep by the time those happen. All I see in baseball are long periods of the pitcher waiting to pitch the ball, then striking out batters, and the batters getting lucky hits that are soon caught by outfielders. Sure, home runs and base hits happen from time to time, but I'm reading an R.L. Stine book before that can happen. Finally, all I see in basketball is, you know what? Out of all the sports, basketball is actually the sport that if all my DVDs disappeared and my DirecTV was tuning into an NBA channel and all my Shakespeare plays were missing, I would sit down and watch it. It's a fast-paced sport that constantly has something happening at all times, and I think it wouldn't bore me as much as the other two. Also, Go Hornets! Woohoo! Bottom line, due to me being raised on cartoons and movies, I just can't sit down and get into sports. I can't actually tell why, but I just can't. Maybe if they brought the XFL back. Nah, too edgy for the modern age. The next thing about sports is they seem to get repetitive year after year. Think about it. When a sports season starts, it goes through a series of games and then ends. Then it starts all over again. I just don't get it. Sure, different things happen year after year, like players getting drafted and injuries occurring, but I just feel like it's mostly the same thing over and over again. And I know they're sports and that's how they work, but I just don't understand that concept. Before I continue, I like to address two popular sports that really annoy me. First, there's NASCAR. I really don't see how the heck this sport is so popular. All it is are a bunch of guys driving around in a circle. And that's it. Do something! Yes, crashes happen from time to time, but since so many people have died from crashes, I'd be ashamed to be enjoyed by them. For several hours, all you see is a left turn, straight, pit stop, straight, left turn, come back in half an hour. You won't miss a thing! Seriously, I just don't understand it. Unless somebody has the highest attention span known to mankind, I don't see how anyone can enjoy this sport. Then, there's UFC, another popular sport that I'm not a fan of. Two guys with no personality fighting each other until one is knocked out, or time expires, or somebody bleeds. It just bores the heck out of me. I try to get into it since I'm a wrestling fan, but all I see is punching, kicking, boring holds, and that pattern keeps repeating itself. I just don't get it! It just feels like the same thing over and over again. Plus, it's two guys just randomly put together to fight. Who are these guys? What is their backstory? Never explain, all they do is fight. Boring. It's probably the wrestling fan in me, but I need more than just two random guys fighting each other to keep my attention. However, I have a lot of respect for the UFC fighters. They take a lot of beatings, and I know that doesn't feel pleasant. Plus, they would most likely beat the crap out of me if they met me in real life. Then again, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Anyway, UFC is just another sport where I don't understand its appeal. Finally, the last two nitpicks I have about sports. Everywhere you go, it seems all you see is sports, 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 sports. I can't walk into one restaurant, store, or even a stinking funeral without sports being all over the place. I know, sports are popular, but not everybody is a fan of sports. Wait, I'm the only one who's not a fan of sports. But still, would it kill them to have variety? My gosh, sometimes when I walk into a restaurant, they have two TVs with the same sports game going on. What's the point? You think I'm over-exaggerating? Well, the impact of sports is so big on society that me being the non-informed sports fan that I am, I always know who the winners of the Super Bowl and the World Series are every year when I don't even watch them. Yeah, that big. And the big one. My biggest gripe with sports is when they interfere with what I like. For example, I love The Simpsons. When I want to watch a new episode, I'd be lucky to see it at the right time because due to Fox's deal with the NFL and NASCAR, they air games and races right before The Simpsons. So, if they go into overtime, I'm not going to see The Simpsons at the time it was supposed to air. It really annoys me. What really annoys me more is if I'm going to miss a Simpsons episode, I need to DVR it. However, since I have the DVR set to record at 7 o'clock, if a game or race goes into overtime, I'll miss half the show because the stupid DVR is set to stop recording at 7:30! Gosh freaking dang it! Why can't you take a Family Guy's time slot? Huh? Yeah, Sometimes it sucks being the only fan of Simpsons left in the world. Now, the positives about sports. Even though I'm not a fan, I can see why several people are fans. It's human nature to be competitive, so sports seem like a great thing for those who like to watch two teams just compete against each other. I agree, it's a good adrenaline rush. However, for my adrenaline rush, I watch wrestling. I'll wait till you're done booing. Thank you. Another thing, I have nothing but the utmost respect for athletes. They have to go through a lot of training and hard work to get where they are, and they sure as heck deserve it. They put their bodies on the line to entertain people and do what they want to do. I'm all for people following their dreams and goals. Plus, the injuries they go through, ooh, those gotta hurt. Plus, the one sports event I look forward to every year is the Super Bowl. Mainly for the commercials, but at least there's something I can find enjoyment in about it. Finally, I'm friends with a lot of athletes at my school. They are some of the best friends anyone could ask for, and they're not the muscle-headed brutes that some people claim they are. They are intelligent, well-mannered, and kind people who put a lot of effort into what they do, and I salute that. And there are my thoughts on sports. Although I'm not a sports fan, I understand why they are so popular and a staple of American and world culture. Even though they do get on my nerves sometimes, I still respect them enough to not let my ugly side come out on them. Although I do wish society would tone down its coverage on sports a teensy-weensy little bit, I don't have too big of problems with them. I hope that this video did not hurt the feelings of any athletes, and I hope that if you're a sports fan, you won't want to slice my jugular into 7 pieces. Anyway, I'm Ben, and I'm signing out. I'm gonna go buy a Hornets jersey. Oh, and by the way, Cubs suck!